Daddle-a-dum, 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 dum, dum, daddle-dum. Gotta be quiet. It's the early hours of the morning. And, oh, Jesus, what are you doing there? Doctor Who has returned. We get 2 episodes. Because Doctor Who is now an American programme, it gets shown at 5 pm in America, and we get to watch it at midnight. So I stayed up. Because I've got nothing better to do with my life because I'm a sad old man. So let's bear that in mind. Anyway, we see Shooty Gatwa. He's the 15th Doctor now, and Ruby Sunday, the continuing adventures. I think Shooty Gat was a fine Doctor. I quite enjoy the cut of his jib. Not a big fan of Ruby Sunday because we're redoing the old mysterious companion trope. She's a companion that is special. You know, there have been a few hints laid quite heavily in the second episode, the Devil's Chord. I think that's what it's called. I should do my research. Lots of references to the Doctor's granddaughter and Totter's Lane back in in the oldie days of the show. So yeah, who knows? That could be Rusty laying a breadcrumb trail. We don't know. Anyway, the first new episode is called Space Babies, and I don't think dear Shooty Gatwa said Space Babies enough during the episode. I think there was a bet. I think they had a bet on that. How many times can you say Space Babies before you get sick of it? Again, the first episode was purely set up to explain the show to those who aren't familiar with the programme. It wasn't done with the same class as the first episode with Eccleston back in 2005. It was kind of heavy duty. Basil Exposition himself should have turned up and explained everything to everyone. So yeah, it was a bit of an exposition dump of for those people who've got Disney Plus, who they think are going to tune in. They're not. So there was a bit of that. Of course, the most irritating thing was them getting the sound of thunder wrong. Naughty Rusty, naughty. Stop getting Ray Bradbury wrong. I feel like Alan Partridge, because it doesn't work like that. But anyway, if you'd have read The Sound of Thunder and understood it, you know that those rules of time travel are slightly different, more akin to the time travel we see in Back to the Future. Ripples backwards in time rather than a direct looping arc of consequences. If you think about it, the Doctor goes throughout his adventures changing things and altering time, and so we'd have had these temporal artifacts happen before, wouldn't we? But anyway, I'm getting obsessed with Ray Bradbury. Don't do Ray Bradbury wrong. Anyway, then we go to the future, because you've got to do that. We kind of did it with Rose. It's a kind of, we go to a space station again. There are parallels to that 2005 season with Eccleston in this, with a space station. But this time, space babies, space babies, space babies, space babies, space babies. Just so that I've said it enough. It's a ship that is a baby farm, and again, so yeah, you kind of get the feeling that there's some sort of underlying thing going on there. But of course, the big message is we're all born fine just the way we are. Even those babies that grow up to do terrible things, like, should we do Adolf Hitler, all those babies that grow up to do terrible, terrible crimes. So that's the message. Everyone's just fine the way they are. So that's a first on the nose message. The next one is the the planet of refugees. The refugee planet. And blimey, Russell, you're laying this one on a bit thick. But yeah, the idea is that this baby farm's been abandoned. It's also like a pro-abortion kind of parable as well, because the babies can't be killed, but they can be left abandoned because I guess they don't have the moral means to get rid of them. I don't know. There's a message in there somewhere. Look, it's midnight. There's something going on. So yeah, there are a few messages in there. There's a few bump, 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 bump on the nose messages, and that's fine. It's sci-fi. It's light and frothy. I thought the concept of the babies were hilarious. I thought that was really good fun, actually. It's that kind of almost Douglas Adams humour that I get. I enjoyed that. It was funny. We guessed that. Spoilers. There will be spoilers because I'm going to talk about plot points. We guessed that because I was watching it with the missus. She stayed with me for one episode, and I said, "Bogeyman, it's made of bogies." So when Ruby got covered in, I said it was space jizz because I was being uncouth. Space jizz is funny. So yeah, the monster's literally made of bogies, and they're going to kill it, but then the Doctor decides no, because the Doctor and the space bogeyman monster he's the last of his kind, just like the Doctor. They double down on the Chibnall what's it, child thing, Chibbers. Remember Chibnalls? Remember old Chibbers? So we're going to do that. The Timeless Child is continued. That is an established fact, and that's cool because I didn't mind that idea. A lot of people didn't. And so that's the thing. The thing is that the bogey man is created by the machine, because again, the creation of the bogey man didn't necessarily make sense to me in a narrative sense. I thought it would have been funnier if some of the kids' snot, from the hankies had got into a DNA machine. If it was purely accidental, I thought that would have been a much funnier thing. Also, they missed the point. You think that the bogey man is violent. Wouldn't it have been funny if after the Doctor saves the monster comes up to him and just hugs him, because he wants a hug too, and he's more like a big slobbery, imagine a big slobbery tongue, and it's more like a puppy. That would have been really funny, that sometimes ugly things are not evil. Playing with the perception of, ugly, if that's something ugly, it's evil. You can have ugly things that can be good, and you can be good things that look good that are evil. You can toy with that. So I think Davis missed a trick there, and you could have had a really cute and funny scene where the monster slobbers all over the Doctor and Ruby laughs because he gets all the jizz on him, and that would have been funny. As an opening episode, I think it worked well. I think it was quite good. As an introduction to those people that aren't familiar with the with the Doctor and these adventures. The messaging is on the nose again. If you're my age, in the old days, messaging in sci-fi was subtle. It wasn't writ large, and that was the cool thing about it. There was a subtlety to the messages in the sci-fi that I read. Here, it's not. It's writ large, and I think that's why it grates. It grates with me, because you go, really. We were going to do a rating system, because I'm probably going to do I don't know if the kids are going to do a review with me. I don't know if I'm out of focus. It's late. That's better. But we were going to score it eye rolls out of 5. So how many eye rolls would it have been? 1, 2 eye rolls, I think, out of 5 for that episode. But I didn't mind it. It was funny. I laughed, and I liked the babies. I thought the babies were funny, and I knew that the hero baby would shit himself, because when the monster came, I said he's just shat himself. and then the Doctor finds where he was, you know. So it all works out well. But the idea of the spaceship being fueled by the dirty nappies was one step beyond. I think it would have been much funnier. Again, let's do the humour. If the TARDIS would have dragged, with a bit of old rope tied around it, would have dragged the space station to the refugee planet. That would have been funny. But we're doing it for the kids. It's to make the little kids laugh. I'm not sure the older teenage fans would find it funny. Are farts funny? Of course they are. Farts are always funny. So there we go. So I thought it was okay, but the messaging was a little bit, really. Then we get the second episode, which is the what's it called? The Devil's. I keep thinking it's called the Devil's Crumpet or something. Was it called the Devil's Chord? This is the Beatles episode. Now, again, the Beatles and Doctor Who could go back, don't they? Because aren't they name checked back in the Hartnell years? So that's kind of interesting that we've gone back to the Beatles. We saw the pictures, still images, and we call them the Fat Beatles because the people that they cast as the Beatles all had 21st century physiques, not those svelte, undernourished physiques of 1960s. They were meaty. They were the meaty Beatles. They could have called them the Meatles, indeed. So we go to the EMI recording studio. Again, they got the history right. I like that. As somebody who's a big Beatles fan, they got all the little bits in. That was good. They even got what's his name there, Martin. Doing the production. That was cool. Really ropey Cilla Black though. Wasn't too keen on the Cilla Black. Sure, they could do CGI, But anyway, it's about the death of music, which is quite a compelling story. It got me because as somebody who I know, I usually say they're for ornamental uses, but search for me on the place. There's music. I do music sometimes, occasionally. Music. The idea of music disappearing is very interesting. Again, it's like the death of art, the death of culture. Kind of ties in with some of the feelings I'm having myself. So I was quite invested in it. The villain in it is a creature called Maestro, which is summoned by, again, the guy who summoned Maestro. I was kind of thinking that person had more relevance than I realised. You kind of thinking, because they kept saying he was a genius, and I was trying to figure out how that person was a genius, and was I missing something? Was there a reference there that I was missing? I don't know. Maybe we're going to go back to him. But Maestro is the progeny of the Toymaker, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was an interesting concept. Again, the Toymaker threatens that his minions are manifold and will be after the Doctor, so I guess we'll see more iterations of that. So that explains why this Maestro character is it's played more like a panto villain, and it wasn't malevolent as such. It was I found it a bit grating. It was a bit in your face, but as a villain, I thought it worked, especially with some of the musical battle. I thought that was kind of good, and when they did some reverse photography, which was kind of creepy. They should have used that more. They should have recorded more of Maestro, going backwards and playing it forwards to give it more I'm going to say it because it is a monster, isn't it? It's a kind of a creature. It's an embodiment of something, so it's an it. I thought it worked. Again, the Beatles, Cilla Black. There is no music because music has been stolen by Maestro, who's feeding on it and is going to collect all the music in order to destroy the universe. Didn't quite understand the motivations of that, but hey, it's a god. I guess it's kind of like a god because the Toymaker's kind of a god, isn't he? So yeah. Anyway, and so we have to figure out how to defeat it. That's the thing. And of course, it's defeated by music. And there's a big battle at the end. And the bit where John Lennon character turns up and he's looking at the piano, I'm thinking, the Beatles are going to save the day. It's a shame it weren't all four of them. We have to settle for Lennon and McCartney, but I'm good with that. And they figure out the chord to banish. This is brilliant. I tell you, a little tear in my eye formed when they did it, because I was like, you're not going to do what I think you're going to do. You're going to do it, aren't you? Yeah, they did it. Now, I wasn't sure if it was going to be the opening chord to help, the cling, that kind of chord. But it's the chord at the end of Sergeant Pepper's. Blong, that the end of Day in the Life. It got me. It got me in the feels. I was like, the Beatles saved music. They did. So that was really cool. But then you have this big musical number at the end, which I know it's. I suppose it's what we're going to have to sit through. I thought it was a bit overdone. I didn't think the tune was particularly good. I think it could have been more 60s, and a bit more authentic. But it was kind of like a modern person's idea of what the 60s was. Again, this is all down to them not being able to get clearance for old songs being so expensive. There weren't any Beatles tunes in it. There weren't any Cilla Black tunes in it. So it's a shame. So we have this kind of Chord 60s tune. It's all right. We get a dance number. Everyone's happy, and that's it. I think the episode was a bit long though. It did feel it was dragging a bit. The standoff with Maestro, I don't know, it just felt like it went on a bit. I think it could have been structured a bit better, or edited, or just cut down a bit. But He Who Waits is the next one up. He Who Waits, well, isn't that Rory? He waited around, didn't he? But I noticed when we're on the roof, the camera pans around and it says Chris Waits and the Carolers. Again, reference to Christmas. And Christmas is very important with the Ruby Sunday mythos, snow, Christmas. Christmas seems to be the thing running through. I guess this is all going to be resolved in the Christmas special, possibly. That's where we're heading with this. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. The second episode, I enjoyed it a lot more than the first episode. I mean, again, I didn't mind the first episode, but it's kind of a shame because I enjoyed the Chibnall Years. I know a lot of people didn't. I liked Jodie Whittaker. I thought she was very good in it, and she brought a different weight to the role after Capaldi. It was good to have a little bit of lightness. But Chibnall was turned the show into more of a TV drama, which I kind of, again, for an old fart, I like that. This has kind of gone back to be a bit more, more like a kids program. It is a kids program, but you can also do kids programs that have a more adult sensibility. I think some of it is a little bit juvenile, and I mean that not in an insulting way. I mean it's juvenile. Farting. We're getting back to farts again and the Slitheen. And I don't mind a fart joke. It's just that it's a tonal shift. I've got to get used to going from the Chibbers era to this era and getting back to the fart jokes and and what else, other innuendos. What was it? Snowman, and it from the church on Ruby Road. Don't look that up. Don't look that up. It's not about walking in the air. So yeah, it's very much Russell T Davies doing Doctor Who, and we've only got another 6 weeks of this because it's 8 episodes. We've had 2 already. Another 6 weeks, and it's going to be gone pretty quickly, which is a shame. And then we'll have to wait until Christmas for the Christmas special. Like I say, like Ncuti Gatwa, not a big fan. Again, it's not what's her name who's playing. God, I keep thinking a different name for the for the companion Ruby. I keep thinking Ruby Murray. That's not right, is it? Ruby Sunday. Should have called her Ruby Murray. Oh, and in the Abbey Road canteen serving the tea, was that Anita Dobson? He mentions the Rani. It's probably a red herring. But yeah, Millie Gibson, who plays Ruby Sunday, I've got no problem with her. It's just this whole companion as mystery thing. Wouldn't it be nice if they just could, do you remember Rose? She was just kind of like a shop girl. I liked it when the companions were just us travelling with the Doctor. They were just regular people. We did all this with Clara. And even with, I guess, Amy a bit in a way, because she's the mother of, oh God, we won't do that. We won't talk about all that stuff that happened under Moffat. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all right. It's big, it's brash, it's got the Disney hallmark on it, and Russell T Davies has at least secured the show for another couple of years, I suppose. The problem with it now is this whole thing as TV as content. It's no longer event television. It's going to be hard for some families to get together to watch this because of spoilers and showing at midnight, and that's what I don't like. And again, Russell Davies said the show is just progressing, and this is a good thing. Like, putting it on at midnight is progress. No, he should be honest and say, look, we've got American money. One of the provisos of that is that the Americans get it the same time as us, and they want it at 5 p.m, and we've got to follow them. Now, if he'd have just been honest with that, I'd have said, fine. It's not good, but at least you're being honest. But he tries to make it out like they're doing us a favour, and they're bloody not. I don't like that. The whole event television thing, it's a shame it's ending. And so this kind of stuff is just going to be dribs and drabs. It's just, it's the same with a lot of these shows that are shown now. They say they've got, so many million viewers, but this isn't BBC Two, where 3.5 million viewers would be a evening viewing figure for BBC Two. 3.5 million video views, or whatever you call it, is for the whole platform worldwide. And that's when you start to realise that all this programming is now incredibly niche. It's incredibly niche programming, and I just hope that that this can get new fans involved. But there are an awful lot of people that are not into Doctor Who, and I don't know if Ncuti Gatwa is the guy to do it. And that's no insult to him. My biggest fear is that when he does decide to move on, is they are going to get an American to play the role. And it'll be a big American. It'll be a big star. Because star power always pulls people in. I'm not saying Tom Cruise, but someone like Tom Cruise, if you can imagine. That will be the future for the show. And I'm not really sure if that's a good thing, because Doctor Who's British. And there you go. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on the first 2 episodes. So sorry for going on. Sorry if this is a bit quiet, but it is 2:07 in the morning. And yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought it was enjoyable romps. A little bit too loud and frenetic for my liking, because I'm a boring old fart, and sometimes the volume, you could just turn it down a bit. Some of the manic bits, could you just I know they're young and full of energy, but come on, just turn it. Can you just turn it down a bit? Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I need to get my sonic screwdriver out as I'm doing this on my own. And yeah, we might be back. I guess we'll be back. You're going to get 2. You're going to get 2 lots. You're going to get me on my own, and then I'll get the kids to do it. But I won't say anything. I'll just get them to talk. I think I'll just be the host, and for that is the audience that this is intended for. I think. I don't know. Not old farts like me. Not old heterosexual, white, bald, old fucks like me. It's not for me. I know I should fuck off, shouldn't I? Should fuck off. Anyway, thank you for watching. Doctor Who in my team. I've got to support, even if they don't want me. I've got to support it, you know. Anyway, thank you for watching. There's only one thing left to say is be careful where you put your sonic screwdriver. I hope the battery's working this one. Yeah, it works. Hey.